Alright, we're back. So let's go ahead and fill out the rest of these. Now, I could, like I said, go in here and do each of these formulas one at a time. But there are faster, better ways. If you want to spend hours doing that, you're more than welcome to. I would prefer to take the way that takes a couple of seconds instead. So once you put in a formula one time, that's all you need. You just need to put in the formula once. And then the rest of it, I just simply have to just click and drag. If you remember this lower right-hand corner that copies formulas that I talked about before, I just simply have to come up here and click that little corner. Now, you have to be very careful not to click on the line or double-click inside. I want to click perfectly right here, and this is used for when I want to copy things. I just click, pull it down, and a bunch of numbers magically appear. Now if we take a little look, I'm going to hit Control and this little tilde, which is right underneath Escape, and you'll see the actual formula view of this. This is what I usually look at when I'm grading. I started off with D4 times E4, and when I pulled it down, it went ahead and adjusted the formula as I went down. You notice that it's automatically adjusting it. This is called a relative cell reference. It means that it adjusts the cell's values relative to its position. So Excel tries to be smart, it tries to think ahead. When I pull this down, it assumes I'm trying to do the same thing in this row, which I am. Now there are times where we wouldn't want to do that. In that case, we'd use what's called an absolute cell reference, but we'll worry about that later. For now, just know that you put it in once, and then you just use this bottom right-hand corner. Now I can do that for all of these at once. So I want to just highlight. Now, be very careful not to use the copy, or you will just erase everything you just did. You want to highlight these, bottom right-hand corner. And I can copy all those formulas at once. If we take a quick look at it, you'll see each one of these formulas goes up just like the previous ones. And now I have numbers. And the nice thing about this is if I go over here and change anything, now it's 56. This entire row here changes and adjusts with it. That's what all these formulas are for. Now, the next step here, now I've got all my formulas put in, is to figure out the totals, highest, average, lowest, and so forth. Now, we're not going to get totals for everything, because there's just some things they don't want totals for. So the first thing we're going to total is hours worked. Now, totaling is relatively easy. You just click where you want to put it, hit the auto sum, and then you can just press enter. Now, adjust it if you need to, but I'm just going to go ahead and press enter for now. Now, we're not going to be able to do exactly that for a couple of other things here in a minute, but I'll explain what those are when we get to it. I want the total for gross pay, so gross pay. And you'll notice it's actually starting to fill out some other stuff. Again, it's trying to think ahead of me. I don't know why it skipped that one, but I'm going to go ahead and fill that one out too. And then it just went and filled out like almost the whole row. We actually don't want tax percentage, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Totaling a bunch of percentages doesn't really work mathematically, I guess you could say. So we're going to leave that deleted. And I'm going to click right here, and I'm just going to copy that formula down. Just like that. So instead of totaling these, I'm going to copy this thing down. Now, it actually automatically filled this out, and you'll notice it's not a total like my others were. That's actually perfectly fine. The reason for it is because of the way the formulas work, it still ends up actually being the same. If I come up here and auto sum, the number still ends up being the same. Now you may get a little arrow here. That's perfectly fine. It's going to tell you inconsistent formula. We've meant for that to happen, so it's okay if there's an arrow there. Usually if you see those little arrows, it means you messed something up. In this case, we purposely did this so you don't have to worry about it. Now, I want to do the highest, lowest, and average. We're going to start, well, let's see, right here. We don't care about dependents. or actually no, we will start dependence. So I'm going to click on dependence. Notice there's a blank little spot here. The very first thing I want to get is the highest. And just so you know, that formula is right up here where the auto sum is. There's a little arrow. You'll see average, count, max, and min. Max is your highest. It gets the largest number. And if I click right here and I go up there and hit it, I can put in the formula. Now you're not going to be able to do this. I can't highlight and do it this way because I don't want to include this row. I want to skip the totals row. If I get the max here, it's going to give me the max for all these numbers, and the max will always be the total. This is the biggest number. We want a max for a specific range. In this case, D4, D12, C4, C12. And I want to make sure that's correct. Once I've got it in the first time, I can use this to go ahead and fill out the rest with a single swoop. If I get it wrong, all of my values and everything after this will be wrong. So I want to go here and I want to click max. And you notice it says C4 through C13. I want it to say C4 through C12. I can just click here and change that to a 2. I can click up here and just re-highlight. Make sure you don't click on the line itself, but in the middle of it. You can click pretty much anywhere and readjust that. And once I have what I want, I just press enter. And the biggest number is 3. The lowest would be our min, so I'm going to get the min. And notice it just picks the one above us. I can't tell you how many students just do this and don't pay attention to what they're doing. If you turn it in and you don't have formulas, you will not get any points. If you turn it in and your formulas are not what the book asks for example, I'm highlighting this instead of this here, you're going to lose points. So pay very close attention to what the book specifically asks for. In this case, I want the min of C4 through C12, and I press enter. Average, same thing. I come up here and I click on average. And again, it's going to highlight directly above me. It's trying to say, oh, you want to average these things right above you. No, I want to average, again, C4, C12. I want to ignore these. So I'm going to press enter, and I have 3 numbers, of which I can highlight and use the bottom right-hand corner to pull across and fill out the rest. Obviously, we're not going to get any averages of the dates and all that, so we're going to leave that blank. But once I pull it across, I should have maxes in one column, mins in another, averages in another. And this fills out my whole thing. Is all the formulas I actually need to fill out for this. Now we're going to do one more thing. We're going to delete this. Average of tax percentage. And we're going to do that because apparently mathematically it doesn't work. Getting average of a percentage. So we're just going to leave it blank for now. Now at this point, I have done, I want to say 20 or so odd pages of the chapter work for you. If you're following along with me, good. You're right where you need to be. Your next step is to start formatting this. And that actually starts on page 80 in your book. So go ahead and pick up where I left off. It starts on page 80 from here. And you'll go all the way down to page, let's flip through and see. You obviously won't have to print anything. So you're going to go through page, I would say, 100. Once you get to 100, it's going to ask you to start printing and doing stuff. You can ignore that. So you got 20 more pages left to do to finish this particular assignment. I'm going to go ahead and stop here. And hopefully, there it is. Okay. You guys will be ready. I'm going to add some more assignments as well. This week's going to be fairly packed with assignments because we're trying to finish everything up. Next week will be a test over Excel, and all Excel work will be due that week. So if any of you are behind, you're still working on chapter 1, that's okay. You can still turn it in, but keep in mind, the further behind you get, the more you're going to have to do all at once before we get to the test. And if you haven't done all the work, the test is going to be infinitely harder. So if you are a little behind, try to catch up. So we're going to go ahead and stop. And if you have any questions or problems, just feel free to ask.